What's up? Gonna be doing a tutorial today for the title track by Origami Angel. This isn't gonna be like super exhaustive. I'm not gonna show like every single note for note, but gonna show just the overall gist of it and some of the trickier parts I might go through note for note, and give some tips overall on some of like the nuance and techniques that'll help you play this and sound kind of like the record. So before we get into the actual tab, just gonna start with the tone. It's just a slightly gritty tone. With a little bit of distortion on it, which I am simulating with a JCM 800 type amp in amplitude, knobs all at 5, gain at 10, no spring reverb, and then 2 room mics added in to kind of simulate that that live feel. And amplitude 4, there is a free version, and you can get pretty similar sounding amps if you don't have if you haven't purchased any amp simulator plugins, which is nice. And then also you can obviously just actually play it, in which case it's just some distortion mainly. That's like an extreme oversimplification. Ryland's actual rig is extremely complicated, and we can get into that a little bit here in just a second. So here is the guitar I'm using. It is a 2018 Player Jaguar from Fender, which is the same guitar that Ryland does use as his number 1. It has 2 humbuckers in it. They're voiced very differently from Gibson humbuckers. They're considerably, like, I don't want to say muddier, but they're just different. They're thicker, I guess, almost, which is kind of surprising coming from a Fender. But in the treble, they kind of have that classic Fender sound still, which is nice. And then the middle pickup position on Ryland's guitar is a V1 Little Thunder octave pickup, which might get swapped to a V2 here soon, but for the time being, it's a V1 as of the beginning of 2022, end of 2021. And what that does is that sends a separate bass signal from the 3 bass strings and tunes them an octave down, and allows you to send a separate signal and process that as if it were a bass. And so what that does is that lets you get some really full sounds. It fills in the lower frequencies where there would normally be a bass, because Origami Angel's a 2-piece, and that makes them sound absolutely huge and is a massive part of their sound. So if you're going for like an exact copy of the Origami Angel sound, what you're going to want to do is get some sort of octave pickup, bass signal, and there's an interview with Ryland somewhere where he goes over all the pedals he uses to get his main tone. So you can delve into that if you really want to, but for today, this is about close enough. And it blends in with the record fine. Last thing before we actually start playing is the tuning. It is an open C sharp with a capo on 2. As such, I like to just play open D sharp, no capo, because that way, without the capo on there, it can't like bind up on the capo, and then you have tuning problems if you're like doing bends or tapping or hammer-ons or pull-offs or anything where you're manipulating the string, really. So that's my choice of tuning. So open D sharp is going to be the D sharp, and then an A sharp, and then D sharp again, G, and then A sharp, D sharp. And that is just that open D sharp major chord. And then let's just go ahead and get into the tab, I guess. So here's the intro. As I said, because I'm not playing with the capo, and this is written for the capo, I'm just going to transpose down. If you are playing with the capo and using that C sharp tuning, capo on 2, and all of the numbers in the tab are relative to the fretboard, not the capo. So if you see 7, actually play your 7th fret. Don't play 7 frets above your capo, if that makes sense. And then 0 is still just wherever your capo is, because obviously you can't go lower than your capo. If you're playing like I am, though, which is that open D sharp tuning, I'm going to transpose all the numbers down a whole step, which is 2 numbers. So 7 becomes 5, 6 becomes 4, etc., etc. So real quick, let's jump into it. That intro is going to be just kind of 4 basic chord shapes, and then it'll build upon that. And also the whole song uses this kind of same structure, so it's pretty important. And then those are going to just be this chord here, this one, and then here, and this. And that's kind of the basis of the intro. So I'm just going to play really quick what this intro bit that we're going to learn here is going to sound like. So the first part we're going to learn is this. We're going to just learn that real quick. And so what that is that first chord is going to be your 3rd finger on the 5th string on the 5th fret, your 1st finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, and then you're going to play an open string, and then your 2nd finger is going to play that 4th fret on the 2nd string. And then you play all the strings, and you get this nice big sounding chord. And then the little alternation in between there, all you're going to do is take your first and second finger off. So just take them off, and you get this chord. And those are the 2 chords you're going to be using for this first bit, which is... And as you can see there, all I'm really doing, you can see it in the tab as well, is I play the full chord, take my fingers off, full chord, take my fingers off again. So slowly, it's... And that's kind of that whole first section. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the same shape, and we're going to slide it all the way up here to the 9th fret. And same shape. And then what you do is take your first and second finger and slide them down a half step. So 1 fret to right there. And then you get this chord, which is your next chord. And then the alternate chord for this section, you're going to take that first finger and bar the 4th and 5th strings. Or the 5th and 6th strings, my apologies. And then you're going to remove your 3rd finger, and you end up with this chord. So now you have this and this. And so this bit, after you go, you will go. So that's 2 of the open chord, the alternate chord, back to normal, alternate, and then just take everything except for your second finger off. So you play this. And so that's... And then put together with what we just did, it's... And that's kind of that first section. So the next bit, we're going to go back down to this. It's exactly the same as the first little section we played, where we were just going to go. But here's where it changes. You're going to take your first finger and you're going to bar the 2nd and 3rd strings on the 4th fret and leave your 3rd finger where it is. And you're going to get this kind of like dissonant sounding chord right here. Which by itself doesn't sound great, but it's part of this like chromatic passing tone thing to get us to the next main chord. So it'll go from this, and then you're going to take your 3rd and 4th finger and move them up to the 2nd and 3rd string on the 6th fret rather than the 4th fret, and so it'll be like this. So what I'm playing is those 2 right there. And so you go from this to this, and you're going to play each of those twice, so it'll sound like this. And that comes right after the intro. So we're going to put those 2 together, and you'll end up with... And that's that little section. And what that does is that's going to bring us up, and we're going to resolve into this chord right here. So this is a new chord. You're going to start on the 5th fret on the 5th string and bar straight down. So 5th string and down. It's going to be barred. Take your 3rd finger, put that on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and then take your 4th finger and put that on the 2nd string, also on the 7th fret, and you should end up with that chord right there. And so this section, what's going to happen is your pinky, 4th finger, is going to be playing a little bit of a melody over this chord as it goes. So your pinky is going to go like that. And so I'll play that slower and go over here. So you're going to play right here. So the starting chord shape twice. Take your pinky off and let it go down to the bar. So, and then you're going to do that one more time. So pinky, and then open. Then you're going to go up to the 9th fret with your pinky. Open. Back to the original chord shape. Up. Down to the original. And then open. And then... So it's kind of like repeating that pattern. And then... Right throughout the whole thing. So the first time, we're going to play this with the chord now, kind of slow. So as you can see, my I'm not moving the whole shape, I'm just moving my pinky and playing that over the same chord. And then what you're going to do is play the second part of that over this. And what this is you're just going to take that chord we just played, but drop your 3rd finger down to the 6th root on the 6th string. So that's going to be the 6th string, 7th fret still. And then your pinky does the same thing. But you stop when you get up to the 9 for the first time. So putting those together, I'll do it slowly first. And it'll be like that. So if we put that together with what we did earlier, it'll be... Just like that. And so that's the second section of the intro. So now if we can combine the first and second sections of the intro, we have the first section, and then the second section, and then there's the intro. So all together now. There you go. And now, so this is the part where the bass signal is added on and the drums come in. And so the next time through, it's going to be the same thing, except the end is going to change. So we'll start it the same way with... And then instead of ending it here, we're going to finish the phrase by doing the exact same thing we did with the root on the 5th string. So the 5th string root we did. And now we're going to do the same thing with the root on the 6th string. Like that. And so if we play it combined, it'll sound something like this. And that is the intro the second time through. So now, if we put them together, first and second time through, we'll get the whole intro, which will just be this. And then we will eventually resolve into this chord. So that's the whole intro there, which those chords also are kind of the basis of a lot of the rest of the song. But before we move on, I'm just going to give a quick tip regarding like style here. So the first time through, there's very little space between the chords, so the chords are closer together and they flow together more. The second time through, it's going to be much tighter. There's going to be more space between each chords. And this is so when the, if you listen to the record, when Pat comes in and starts playing drums, the hits of the drums and the guitar are going to be syncopated and really line up tight together, especially on that like little chromatic bit with the upstrokes on the guitar are going to line up really clean with the snare hit. And so here's what I mean when I'm talking about the space in between the chords. So this will be like the first time through the intro, right? It'll be... versus the second time. The second time will be... kind of like that. So I don't know if you could really hear that. If you listen to the record closely, you'll notice first time less space between the chords, second time more space between the chords, so it's tighter. And that's kind of that whole section there. And what I just referred to was why I notated play staccato there, particularly on those 4 chord hits. All right, so now we're at the verse. So the first chord for the verse, super easy. Just take your second finger on the 2nd string, 4th fret, and just let it rip like that. And then these next sets of chords are super easy. You're going to take your first finger, bar it across everything, and then play the bottom 4 strings. So 6, 5, 4, 3. And you're just barring the 5th fret. So it'll be this. And then you're going to take that same major chord and make it minor, so just flat the 3rd, which in this case is going to be putting your 2nd finger on 5 of the 6th string, 3rd finger on 5 of the 5 string, skip a string, and then put your 1st finger on 4 of the 3rd string. And you get this chord, which is just a minor version of this. Which, yeah, you're just adding the flat 3 instead of the natural 3. And those are your 3 chords. So you've got the initial, big open chord, the bar on 5, and then that's the minor counterpart. And so that's all you need to know for this first intro section. So then it's just a matter of playing with the timing. So it'll be, sometimes it gets hard to be alive, and you know that better than I do, better than I do. Right? And that's pretty easy. So what you're going to do for that strumming pattern is just kind of, on the record, it kind of sounds like it's almost constant, like eighth notes, like, right? But on live, it's something more like, something like that. You can kind of do something in between, or one or the other, or whatever. Just as long as it is in time, it'll sound pretty good with that record. The next time through, so now we're at the second part of the verse, it'll be a different chord, but very similar. So take your third finger again on that fourth fret there of the second string, and then take your first finger and play the second fret of that top string there, the first string, and play everything. And there's your chord, and that just sounds a little bit more open, less definitively major than that other chord. Here's that other chord, and then here's that one. The difference is kind of subtle, but it sets up well for this next run, which I'll just play it real fast. It's going to be something like that. So you're going to go take your first finger, play the top string, 4th fret, hammer on to 5, pull off to 4, and then pull off to the open. So it'll look something like this. And then you're going to take that shape and move it down to the 5th string. Then you're going to do the same thing on the 3rd string, except this time you're going to go from 5 to 3 instead of from 4 to 5, but it's the same motion. So. And then you're just going to go on 4 and pull off on the 4th string. So all together it'll be. And then you can kind of speed it up. And then like that. And just keep getting it faster until you're up to the speed of the record, and then kind of like that. And try to make sure to keep the notes clean. I'm not doing a very good job of it right now, but you want like to push down on the fretboard and pull straight down to really get some good, to get all the notes enunciated. But you don't want to push so hard that you bend them sharp or flat or whatever. And then a quick tip as well. Practice those hammer-ons and pull-offs, and it'll make this much to play that. And you don't have to get like huge motion on the hammer-ons and pull-offs. You don't have to be like, you know, doing the moving your hand so much. The less you move your hand, the faster you'll be able to play that, because this is one of the trickier parts earlier on, at least. And if you do a little less motion, it can be a little bit easier. Anyways. The chords after that are the same, that bar and then the minor counterpart of it. So if we put that together, starting at the verse, it'll be the sometimes you just want to be alive, and you know that better than I do, better than I do. And then sometimes you go somewhere else, you go somewhere that nobody can find, no one will find. Alright, and then now we're at the chorus, and this is why the intro is important, because we're going to go right back to that intro pattern. So we're just going to go, one of the summers, you don't have to be alone, it's not alone. And go like this, and right back. And then instead of doing the normal ending, you're going to go to a little run here, which you can see right here. And it'll go, take your second finger, put it on the 4th fret of the 2nd string, and you're going to go. So pick, bend up, release, then you're going to go down 1 string, and then you're going to go. And then, so that's from 5 to 3. And then you're going to go 1 more string, and you're going to go from 5 to 4. And then you're going to pull off to 0. So that'll be the 4 of the 5th string, bend, release, then onto the 3rd string, 5, 3, and then 4th string, 5, 4, and then pull off to 0. Like that. And it's kind of legato almost, and that original hold is a lot faster than the bend and the release. So it'll go like that. And even what I just played was a little bit too staccato. So if you can play it a little bit with the notes drawn out a bit more and connected, that's good. And so let's put that together with what we just played for the chorus there. So it'll be the someone Up on the inside. Somewhere cities like that. Somewhere cities waiting for you. So it lines up with somewhere cities waiting for you. Now we're on to the bridge section, which this is probably the most complicated part, in my opinion, the toughest, because of a little rhythmic change that's going to happen here. But so those first chugs on the open strings, those are pretty easy, and those are just palm muted, and those are just straight through, so it'll go right. And then those slides you see there, those are no longer palm muted, so those are just going to go like that. So the chugs are open, and then you're going to want to use your second and third fingers to do those slides, second finger on the fourth string, and then third finger on the second string, starting on the fourth fret and then sliding up to the fifth and back. So with the chugs and the slides, you're going to do this little pattern here. So and then we're going to do the same like chromatic thing we did earlier. So you're going to bar on 4 with your first finger on the 4th fret on the second and third strings, and then you're going to move with your 3rd and 4th up to the 6th fret, same strings. And then that's where it's going to change a little bit. So let's just add that to what we had so far. So we're going to go. And then we're going to do the same shape, this shape right here, that we did earlier in the intro. So again, this is where learning that intro well comes into play, because it's kind of the same throughout the song, except this time we're going to do some triplets on that 5th string root with a little bit of space in between them. So this will be the palm muted like chug bit. It'll be, and then we're just going to do the normal pattern. And then same thing with the root on the 6th, the triplets, and then the normal pattern. And so all together, a little bit slowly, it'll go. And then it'll repeat that one more time. So as you can see there, it does it once, does it twice. And then, there's that, and then there's the part with the triplets, and then it does it one more time. And so the second time, it's the same thing. Again, I think exactly, actually. Yeah, it is exactly the same. So if we just do it twice in a row now and put it together, we can just go. And then we'll go into the next section, which is the interlude, and that's going to start with that same chord that we started the chorus with. So just use your second finger on that 5th string on the 4th fret and just play. And then what we're going to do is the next chord we're going to play is a bar on the 5 for everything, and then we're going to do a little lick. So we're going to go from this to this. And you're going to want to play that and sustain it using your first finger to bar, because we're going to take our 3rd finger and we're going to put it up here on that 7th fret of the top string there, the 6th string. And we're going to do this like slide lick here. We're going to go 7 to 9 like that, and then 7 to 9, and then 7 to 8, and then like that. So you can see in the tab exactly what I'm playing here, and I'll just play it through so that you can kind of hear what it sounds like connected. So it'll go. And so it's pulling off to 0 after each of those slides. So it'll go. So again, on the top string, that's 7 and 9 pull off. And then again, 7 to 9 pull off on the next string. And then 7 to 8 pull off. And then you're just going to play 7 pull off, and then 7, 9, 7 pull off. So like that. And so connecting that to what we already have. And it's just going to do that several times. So the chorus, or not the chorus. The interlude is just gonna go like this. So I'll play the end of the bridge right here. So after the and then it goes to that. Which that last thing it does right before it switches is you're just gonna hit the natural harmonics there on 9 on the 5, 4, 3 strings. Like that. All right, and then after that we finally get to the outro. And this section isn't too bad. There's a little bit of fast chord changing, but other than that, it's pretty general chords. So we're gonna start just where we just played those harmonics. You're just gonna actually play. So 9th fret and on those 3 strings on the 5, 4, 3, right? Or not 5, 4, 3. My apologies. On 2, 3, 4. On 2, 3, and 4. I might have actually misspoken the last time I said that too. Then, but we're gonna play that as the first chord, and then the next chord is gonna be this augmented, or not augmented, diminished sounding chord right here, which is gonna be your second finger on the 9 on the 4th string on the 3rd string. Your first finger is gonna be playing the 6th fret, and then you're gonna be playing that 9th fret with your 4th finger on that 2nd string, right? And so what you're gonna have is this chord, and then this chord, and that's this kind of the start of the outro section. So it's the city's never far away, and it's telling you. And then this is where it changes. So you're gonna hit the open top 2 strings twice, or a couple times, or 3 times, I guess. And then you're gonna do this little run right here, or this quick chord change where it's gonna go right, which is the secret. It's in your brain. Melody, you're gonna follow that. All right. Sorry, had an issue with OBS, which is what I'm using to record. Anyways, so we're doing this section, right? And so yep, 2nd and 3rd finger are gonna be play the 4, 4th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings, and then you're gonna put down your 1st finger on that 3rd fret right there of the 3rd string, and take off your 3rd finger. So we have, and then you're gonna play open, and then you're going to play with your 1st and 2nd finger. Your 2nd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and then on the 3rd string, 1st finger, 2nd fret. So now we have, and then you're going to make the D major shape in standard tuning, right? So just add your 3rd finger up there onto the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So now we have, and then just bar with your 1st finger. You get that top note in there. And so that gives you just the, and that's kind of the ergonomics, or the economy of motion that I would recommend, the fingers for the best economy of motion there. So you kind of just like roll through it, if that makes sense. And then you just go back to playing the chords there. So that'll be bar on the 7th, use your 4th finger to go up there to the, or bar on the 5th, use your 4th finger there to go up there to the 9th. And so then you have, and then this kind of janky chord. Or it's not like janky sounding, but it's a little bit weird to play. You're going to take your 2nd finger there, put it on the 5 of the 5th string, and then you're going to put your 3rd finger right below it on the 5 of the 4th string, and then your 1st finger is going to go on the 4 of the 3rd string, and then your 4th finger is going to go on the 7 of the 2nd string. And that's your chord. And so if we put that together, now we're going to basically, we've got the pattern for the entire outro. So it's just the city's never far away, like that. And then the rest of the outro is pretty much just differences in the pattern. And so I'll kind of just play through it real quick and go through the pattern. So, oh, and also when you're playing the those 3 there on the 1st chord, get the bass notes in there too. Just play all of the notes pretty much. And you'll have a fuller sound. So All right, let's just go through the outro now that we know the pattern. So it's just the city's never far away. I'm telling you, I know that you won't be the same. The city's never far away. I'm telling you, the secret is it's in your brain. And then here the pattern is don't you know I'm telling you. I know that you won't be the same, but you see how the sun hits the water at 6 in the morning on every single day. Hey, and then that's just gonna harmonics on the 9, and then back to the regular pattern. The city's never far away. The secret is it's in your. And then here we're gonna go to the ending. So, and now we're just gonna bar on the 2, and then the 1. No, you're gonna, and then to this chord that we opened with, the more 7 sounding chord, 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 2nd string, and then 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. And then just play everything. And so if we put that all together a little bit faster, we can just end it with. And that's kind of the whole song. So now we can just put it all together and just run through it slowly. And so from the start, we'll go. And that is the entirety of the title track. So tab will be linked in the description. If you like this video or found it helpful, please give it a like, because this did take quite a while to do, and it'd be great to know if people actually found this useful, or if this wasn't particularly useful. That'd also be nice to know. If you got any other questions, just leave them in the comments, and I will try to get back to them as fast as I can. Thank you very much.